All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Autodesk Virtual Academy. The date is September 2nd, 2022. Hope you guys are excited for the fall season as much as you are for this presentation. We got a real special one for you, a fan favorite, Phil Steiger, back in the hot seat. How you doing this morning, Phil?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Adam?
Not too bad, man. Always love to hear it, man. Thanks again for being on, Phil. I always appreciate you on these presentations. And if you guys have noticed, Phil actually has an update to his title card over here. He's both the Vault and PLM practice lead here at KETIV Technology. So we're dealing with some real big guns and expertise today.
Yeah, right. Just means I take more responsibility.
That's right. He's responsible for a lot of emails coming through. But yeah, thanks again for being on. We have a particularly interesting topic. This one's a bit different from what we normally do, everyone. But we're going to be discussing something called Vault as a Service, right? Which is a new service package that KETIV has been offering here. It's you could consider it, I guess, first off, just as another kind of Vault solution for how you guys are going to be handling this forward here. But since it is a new package and since it is an interesting topic, we wanted to bring Phil on to kind of discuss this in more detail. Do you have anything to add to that, Phil?
Yeah, we are the only one in the industry offering this currently as a solution. So it's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say, someone noticed that we are on 2022 over here on the date. So my apologies. The future really is now. So was that intentional? I'm not sure. So everyone's real excited about this. So I can't wait to get started. So yeah, just a few notes, a few, bookkeeping stuff. Zoom webinar, right? You have a Q&A panel, you have a chat panel. There's not many links to share today, but I'll be submitting some info through the chat if you guys have it. Feel free to submit any questions through the Q&A section if you need to. There will be a Q&A at the end. There's also a survey at the end if you guys have any feedback for future topics or critiques or any concerns about our formatting moving forward from here. Okay, let us know if there's any audio issues, and I'll hand it back to Phil to take us on this magic carpet ride. Okay.
Thank you very much, Adam. Welcome, everybody. Today, our agenda is Vault as a Service. The future is now. I'm really excited about this. I've been working on this for the last year. I think you guys are going to be excited about this. It's changing how we do things in the industry. Let's go. So today's agenda, go through my introduction. We talk about a little bit about data management solution past, and then we'll talk about data management in the future. And then we'll get into KETIV's Vault as a Service. And then I'll wrap it up at the end with a summary. And then we'll do a little bit of Q&A. So a little bit about me. Adam says I am now the Vault and PLM practice lead here at KETIV. I've been at KETIV now just about a year. Before that, 25 years in IT. For those 25 years, I was mainly responsible for supporting engineering and all their software. For the last 12 years of my IT career, I was responsible for our Vault environment at my last job. So been doing this a long time. I started using AutoCAD in 1988. If that dates me at all. It's been a couple days. So it's come a long ways. So I'm excited to show you guys this stuff today. Well, we're going to start out with a couple of poll questions, and I'll let Adam kick off these poll questions just to get a sense of where you guys are at.
Gotcha. Just launched it. Should be showing up on screen, but let me know. I think it's coming through. Yeah. There we go. There's some responses. Okay. Yeah, so a few poll questions, right? We just kind of want to get an idea of where everyone's at. So first questions, do you have any other applications in the cloud? Yes or no? How many applications in the cloud? You have in-house IT or third-party IT, and are you looking to save money with Vault management and overhead cost? I would hope the answer is yes if you're on this presentation, but that's okay if you answer no. But I'll give that up to the 60-second mark here to discuss. And yeah, this will give you an idea of kind of where this conversation is going from here. But Yeah, so let's cut it there. I think we got good idea of what's going on over here. About a 50% of precincts reporting in here. I'm going to share results over here. Okay, and I think you should all be able to see that. You too as well, Phil, right?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Yeah. So what do you think of these results, Phil?
It's pretty consistent. I think everybody, I'm shocked that more people don't have cloud applications,
Yeah.
at least
So
one today.
I see. I see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I know like a lot of things are kind of just moving towards cloud services in general, right? And someone did correct us as well. There should be a 0 option on question number 2 if you're able to answer no on question 1. Thank you. So thank you for that. And so yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing here and I'll let you get on with it, Phil. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks. That gives me a good idea where we're at with the whole cloud today.
Mhm.
And if we think back just, and I'm going to go over this in a second, just 15 years ago, if somebody come to you and said, hey, I want to put an application in the cloud, you'd have been a little hesitant. You'd want everything on-prem. So I always look at stuff, if you don't know where you come from, you can't appreciate where you're going. And so if we look at the past, how fast it's rapidly changed. I mean, a lot of people I don't know can remember drafting tables and having that army of people having to do drafting on a drafting table. That's how I learned how to do design work, was on a drafting table. And that physical media and the physical storage space of that was enormous. And then computers sort of came in, but that data was still fragile in that we were storing it on floppy disk. And I don't know if you can remember, you put a magnet on that floppy disk and anything that was on that was gone. And data recovery and backup was difficult back then. It just was. It was just how it is. But it was revolutionary when we got to computers, because then CAD came along and it did speed up. And it sort of took the drafting table out of the equation. And it sort of jobs, were lost in that. We didn't need as many people to do the same amount of work. And so we forward to present day and we look at the solution. We have file servers and network drives. And when the network came along and we were able to share our data on a network, it was great. But it presented challenges, because and I can remember back in the day, people saving over CAD files. And then I had to spend time, going into our backup and restoring CAD files. And then Autodesk came out with Vault. And it was revolutionary, because it seems like engineering tools are always the last tool to get the cool stuff sometimes. You think about it, the ERPs and the MRPs and the Salesforce, CRM. Well, then we got Vault, and it was to manage our data and for engineering. But one of the drawbacks is it's always required to be on-prem. But it secured our data in a way that we could control and manage it on a day-to-day basis. And we had, it limited who had access and who could make changes to it. And, it had some workflow behind it instead of just storing it on a file server. It was revolutionary when it came out. So what's next and when? And I was thinking about this morning, what's next? And I relate this to a phone, because cell phones now have become such a big part of our lives. And a new phone gets released and you have it for 2 or 3 months. And the first question I get from my kids, well, when's the next one going to come out and when am I going to get it? And it's only been 3 months. So it's like, you're always wanting what's next. When are we going to have something that's going to change how we do stuff from what we're doing it today? So I'm here to tell you the future is here. And I'm excited to talk about it today, and how I think that it changes how a business can look at using Vault as a tool. It's amazing. So we've come up with Vault as a service. And what Vault as a service is, it's a cloud-based solution that's fully managed by KETIV. All the benefits of Vault and none of the overhead. Being in IT for 25 years, I can tell you this. Most IT people don't like to deal with engineering for some reason. They think it's like a black box of information. It's really not that hard. Applications are a little bit bigger. They're not Word, Microsoft Office, but they just don't have time for it. Well, this is a way, I think, for you to alleviate that problem. So let's go through what it actually means, Vault as a service. Here, this is what it means. Infrastructure. We don't think about when we stand up a Vault server, well, we need the infrastructure. And on a day-to-day basis, it'd be nice if I could buy a server and it could sit in the corner for the next 10 years and just run. Well, there's a cost associated with it. Well, with Vault as a service, you never have to worry about your server, your infrastructure anymore. It's always going to be running on the latest and greatest hardware and OS. Networking. It's very simple. We create a VPN tunnel from Azure directly into your office. We stand up that server in Azure. The end user doesn't know if that server is sitting in your data center or if it's in the cloud. They just are putting in a name and go into the server. Security. It's in Azure. You just improve your security, especially with today and all the ransomware attacks that are happening out there. The server security in Azure is a lot higher than we could ever do probably in our own data center. Vault management. KETIV takes all the vault management for you. You no longer have to worry about performing all that vault management. KETIV does that for you, which includes your backups. You don't ever have to worry about, is my vault being backed up? Did the backup happen last night? Plus, on top of that, we offer a DR solution with our backups. So every morning after the backup is completed, we take a snapshot of the backup folder and it's stored somewhere else in Azure. So heaven forbid that the whole server was to crater, we would have a snapshot of that. We keep them for 21 days as a DR solution. It also allows us to be able to offer, if you need to go back up to 21 days and get data, we would be able to do that for you. And then the support. KETIV offer, with this, you're getting KETIV support. You're getting your desktop, your Inventor, your AutoCAD, and your Vault support with us. Pick up the phone. We also have a new support system where you can create tickets through our portal now. We take care of it. We help you out to make sure you're successful with your Vault. So what are the key features and benefits here? Like I said, you get a dedicated Azure cloud server. We set up basic Vault setup and configuration. If you have a current Vault, we do a backup of that Vault and we store it into the cloud. If you're new to Vault, we'll help you get your data loaded. We'll show you how to load the data. Like I said, we do a point-to-point VPN tunnel. We do Vault training. If you're new to Vault, help you start using Vault the correct way, get it set up so that you are successful. We do all the installation, maintenance, and upgrades of your Vault. With this, you get annual upgrades. Now, if you're a company that says, well, we don't want to do an upgrade every year, we can work with you and we can do biannual upgrades if that's how you guys work. We can do the Vault user access management. We have disaster recovery. We also tune the SQL. So there's a lot of benefits to having us take care of your Vault.
And then a quick moment there too, Phil. I know you're talking about security, and I think we've already talked about this internally as well, but like ITAR certification and other kind of standards that some certain companies and industries have to abide by. Does that also fall under VaaS? Is that all allowed here?
We are currently in the process of the ITAR security. Mm-hmm. We have our first draft of ITAR mm-hmm. that's been written, and I think we're going to give it to a customer to look over. We're in the process. We hope by the first of the year to be able to offer it to government and government contract companies for ITAR. So it is coming.
I got you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So Vault as a service. When I created this, I didn't realize how it would affect our customers, and not only our small customers, but our larger customers. I mean, our largest customer right now has 2.1 million files in their Vault. It's a 1.6 terabyte data store. And we have some smaller customers also. But when we built this 3-year cost benefit analysis to show what you spend if you're going it alone compared to if you went with Vault as a service. And you can look at these numbers, and a new server is 10 grand, and we figure every 3 years you're going to have to replace the server. Maybe you go a little longer, 4 years, but software companies and hardware companies are sort of in bed with each other. The software company comes out with a new piece of software. Now you got to go out and buy a new piece of hardware because the software isn't supported on the hardware. It's a vicious cycle. Well, in this, we eliminate that cycle. It's completely gone. SQL, if you have a smaller Vault, under 9 gigs of the database is under 9 gigs, you can stick with SQL Express. So we didn't put a cost in there because that varies between customers. We don't think about the backup and the hardware that it takes to back up our Vault server. These are rough estimates of what you might spend annually on performing backups. Another thing we don't think about is the electrical and the cooling costs to keep that server up and running. And then the other two big things I don't think we ever think of is the IT resources and the Vault admin. And how much time they spend, IT is having to back up and they're having to patch the server. And then you have a Vault admin who might be an engineer that you've just assigned that duty to, and he's spending a couple hours a week working on that instead of being an engineer. Well, now we can alleviate some of those things. And here's another great benefit to this. We just had a customer who had replicated servers to 5 different locations on the West Coast. We took them down to one server in the cloud, put VPN tunnels at each of their locations, and now they're operating on with one server. No more replication either. Huge cost savings for them. And these numbers are very, we're very conservative on our numbers. I can say it was like an $80,000 over 3 year savings for this one company that we just did. That goes directly to the bottom line, a lot of that cost savings, which makes the company able to spend on other things.
And then I'd like to emphasize that point too, because we do have a few questions about replication here, Phil. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of customers, obviously, they're replicating across a few different locations and stuff. If they were to go to Vault as a service, they would have a cloud server, cloud vault, a clouded vault, right? Do they still need replication, or is there a use case for replication once you're in the cloud? Is it going to be a direct replacement, or can you speak to that architecture there?
Uh, Everything's on a case by case as
Mhm.
far as the replication. So far, we've noticed everybody we've moved that had replication does no longer need replication.
Mhm.
Now, if you're talking, I have one here in the US and I have one in Asia, then we would put two servers, one in the Asia region and one in the US, and we would replicate between those two.
I see. I see. Right. Yeah. So definitely not like a direct replacement by any means, and replication is still a thing, but it can help alleviate some of that extra administration for replicated servers you may have already.
Right. And we're in talks with a couple of companies that are looking to do global replication
Right.
in 4 different continents. And, they just want it out of their uh, data center. It makes it
Yeah.
easier. It's in the cloud. They don't have to worry about it. It makes replication easier for us. We can set it all up.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, even on this slide alone, right? A lot of the cost is just literal hardware and stuff, and like electricity and cooling and stuff. So a lot of that cost is going to fall out looking at this kind of solution, right?
Right. And the replication it also has to do with, your bandwidth. I mean, if a
Mhm.
company, if let's say you have a satellite location where the bandwidth isn't, it doesn't have a large bandwidth, there could be a little bit of slowness, but you got to remember how you're using Vault. You're grabbing the file, you're pulling it down, you're working on it, it's still on your local computer. It's really not, you're not using it in the cloud. So it's not like every time you make a keystroke, it goes back and does something in the cloud. It's the check in, the check out, where it really is, you're using most of your bandwidth.
Exactly. Yeah. And another person from Phil's team, Jason, just did a great AVA on kind of vault architecture solutions, which covers some of the use cases for replication as well, which I can link here because that was also a really popular session, and a lot of questions about how you could set up your architecture for vault solutions, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, thank you for talking to that. Thank you.
Okay. So I think one of the biggest benefits to this is the configurability and the scalability of this solution. And think from, I get the solution. I don't have to worry about server anymore, but it's scalable for me at any time as we grow. So let's say I have a small vault right now, but in a couple of years it's growing. Well, all I'm having to worry about now is disk space, because that's really all the cost you would incur to increase disk space. Or maybe I want to put a office in Asia or in Europe. Yeah, we stand up a server over in that region, and we tie in and have replication there. Very scalable, quick to deploy. And every customer we've had that's moved to it has had nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah, I know an interesting point you brought up when we were preparing for this was that, both customers that are brand new to Vault and they don't even have Vault, and then also like large customers that have multiple databases and stuff, they both have something to gain from this kind of service, correct?
Yes, they do. And really, when you think about it, there's a lot of customers who are using Inventor today and they want to go to Vault, or I think of the smaller customers, and they have a Vault, and they're paying some third-party IT to manage that hardware in their office. Well, why? And then they pay us to come and help them also. I'm trying to alleviate all that. You don't need to have hardware in your office anymore, but you can still get all the benefits of Vault, and it's in the cloud, and it's all being taken care of. I think that's a big, big thing for our customers. So next steps for moving to VaaS. build and configure your new hosted server. These are everything that KETIV will do. We'll work with your IT to configure your VPN tunnel. We back up existing vaults. We migrate it to the new server. We'll help you load your data for the first time on a vault server. And then we coordinate the cutover date and the go live. And usually we do this over a weekend. We schedule on a Friday night cutoff. If you have an existing vault server, we take a backup. We get the backup in the cloud. We restore it. Monday morning, the users come in. They stop pointing to that server and they point to the new cloud server, and they're up and running. Transitions have been really, really smooth. We haven't had, I have a nice little documentation that shows users, how to change, where to point to a server and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is there something missing from this slide? Is there anything that the customer needs to do before moving to VaaS themselves?
No, we do everything.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what one of the customers recently, I had a meeting with him and we were going through all the stuff. And he goes, so what am I supposed to do? I don't know. I told him, I was like, we'll take care of everything. You just, if we have a couple of questions we need answered, and I did everything else. So it made it very, very
really
easy for them to migrate.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
It's a good point though, Adam. So I have this, and I'll bring this back up. It's basic, all the stuff, the key features and benefits. But I'll move over to the Q&A and take any questions.
Yeah, so we got quite a few questions over here. So let me start from the top so far, right? So from Brian Kelly, yeah, this is the part of the replication questions that came up. Would this completely alleviate the need for replication between different sites? Again, not necessarily. It does kind of take care of, some current replication solutions you might have, but, replicating between regions over the cloud server is also a possibility, right?
Right.
But do you want to say anything else about replication as far as, Vault as a service goes, though?
It can, I mean, I'm working with a couple of companies where we're trying to do tests to see if we can completely eliminate their replication. So it is possible.
Yeah, and a lot of these things are open conversation. So if you guys want to talk more, Phil's info is on the screen there. So he loves getting us our emails. So
oh, and also, and if you want to do a test, I have test servers set up, and we're always willing to do tests to see if it fits. We'll load some of your data, give you direct link into it, and you guys can, test for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking about just kind of cloud services in general, right? We have someone asking, how would the system handle temporary internet loss? And how do you manage can you talk more about well, let's just start there. How does the system handle temporary internet loss, for example?
When the internet's down, Vault is down, unfortunately. That's just how it is. I mean, any cloud solution.
Yeah. And that's totally fair. And then I know you discussed some talk about backups and storing some images on the server and stuff like that. Can you talk about data recovery specifically in the case of a crash or cratering? I think you called it the other day.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we came up with the DR solution. If that server was to crater, let's say, we'd spin up a brand new server. We would attach the DR image to the server and restore from there, and have it hopefully back up in a day.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good point, just because, you always want to make sure your backups are in multiple places if you can, and that's also included in all of this as well.
Well, and the goal is that we want to be less than 24 hours of data loss.
Yeah,
if possible.
Exactly. And then this is from Andy as well. You mentioned Vault Basic as a setup. Is this applicable to Vault Professional or Vault Professional databases with item masters, for example?
Yep, does all.
Easy one. All right. Okay. And then this one was also about replication. Someone has 5 offices, 5 countries. I don't really intend to talk about price here today, but feel free to reach out to us again, because the prices are going to be variable and will depend case by case basis, Radu. Okay. And then this one, we mentioned Vault administration and Vault management here a lot in this presentation, Phil. Is the user management going to be done entirely by KETIV, or can it be shared with someone on premise, for example?
It can be as much as they want either way.
Perfect. There you go. Yeah. So again, we're super flexible with that. We have a lot of fingers in some customers, some of them we don't have as many, but very flexible on that as well. Don't think that's a question. And is this a service provided by KETIV, or is this separate from KETIV? This is entirely by KETIV. Yeah. Do you have anything?
100% by us.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. And then I guess back to this other question over here. Are we concerned about where the physical server is going to be located for the Azure cloud services here? I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a huge concern, is it?
Well, like Azure has regions like in the United States,
Yeah.
and we usually try to base that server in the region of the company. So if the company is located on the East Coast, we're not going to put the server on the West Coast. We'll put it in that area.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Raptor01. Okay. And then another note about just some of the pricing that we showed earlier and stuff. So let's see, I would have to question the cost of electric and cooling and IT resources. The Vault is not the only server in our system, so VaaS would have no effect on that. Okay. And so just to emphasize, right, that pricing breakdown, the cost analysis is, heavily dependent on your individual costs. So I don't expect that to be an exact number to apply to everyone on the call by any means, just a rough estimate of what you'd be dealing with. So keep that in mind when you look back at that slide. Okay, this one over here, compare speed. We have fiber optic from server to facility to your link. And okay, yeah. So this has come up a lot too in our discussions with Vault as a service, talking about kind of like performance hits or performance concerns, right? So either internal networks versus going up to a cloud service. Can you speak to the performance that you could expect there, Phil?
So far, none of our clients have really seen much of a performance hit going from on-prem to the cloud. I mean, if you see the performance hit, it might be in the milliseconds that it takes, but we haven't had none of our clients say anything about performance yet.
Yeah. I know we've dived down into some of those performance issues with, like SQL tuning, for example, or just kind of internal network stuff. There's a lot of variability there too, but in general, it seems like it's been pretty good for people going up to the server and down.
Yeah.
Vault client would not be affected. It would remain the same, correct? Correct. Yeah. You'd just be pointing to the server on the, on the cloud specifically with the VPN tunnel, correct?
Correct. And one thing I forgot to mention, that server can be attached to your network, or it can stand alone if you wanted to.
Oh, cool. Okay. So there wouldn't always be a need for VPN then, you're saying?
No, you have to have the VPN, but
I see.
Putting it on your network, if you're using, network names to log into Vault.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Perfect. So some of that sign-in stuff is still preserved with the domains and stuff and directories. Yes. I see. Cool. All right. Server or file restore, would this be done by KETIV on Pacific time?
Right. It would be done as far as if for a disaster. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah, there's not much more information there from MBES, but yeah, in case of disaster, yeah.
So luckily we have people on the East Coast, West Coast, and in the Midwest on KETIV. Yeah. So we're covered across all areas, that's time zones. Yeah.
The sun never sets on the empire of KETIV, and
it does once it gets into the. Once it gets to Europe, it does.
Yeah, so yeah, we have pretty good coverage on like support ranging from East Coast to Pacific in our current standard right now. Yeah, and the specific hours we could clarify your needs, of course, but we have support on the Eastern time that starts, I guess around like 6 o'clock on Pacific time technically. So we clarify that more, Michael, depending what you need, but just let us know, okay? Answer that here. And then I guess just a general question, what would be an approximate time frame for implementing VaaS if we were to have a Vault on our server? So yeah, is there a good turnaround time, or do you guys have any timeline so far you could speak to?
It usually takes about 3 weeks, and
Mhm.
it's coordination. Get the Vault server, we get it stood up, and then I think it's then getting the VPN connected.
Right, right,
And then once we do that, it usually takes, we allow for a week, because if they have an existing Vault server, what we do is we try to stage that data. So we do a full backup the weekend before, and then we copy that up, and then we do incrementals all week and continue to copy it up, so that on Friday night it's a quick, last incremental, copy it up, start the restore, so it has time to do the restore and do all the validation. So by Sunday morning or early Sunday afternoon, it's ready to go.
perfect. Okay, yeah. So order of a couple of weeks is what you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about here, Ray. Um, I was gonna say, I know we were on like a Vault backup call recently where I think the backups took up like over 24 hours or something like that. Which
Right.
is,
And when it's like we had with the one customer, our largest customer, we had to start on Thursday. Just it was, and I don't care if it's on-prem or anywhere, if they were doing a migration from new hardware, if they're migrating to new hardware, it's just the size of the data.
right, right. Yeah. Okay. And then is it possible to integrate Fusion 360 Manage with VaaS as well? Oh, and this is actually two questions people just put in here. Yeah.
We haven't done it yet, but it is something that we could do.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
fairly certain we can do.
Yes, that's right. Phil is the Vault and PLM practice lead, so he's definitely going to be the one to be looking after these issues as well. So definitely shoot us some more info, or feel free to reach out to us. We could discuss that more at length as well for both MBest and Tony Monty. Good stuff, man. Okay. All right. Okay.
Well,
And
that was
then
our vision of putting this in the cloud, is,
yeah.
the whole idea. Now you have your Vault in the cloud, and then you can go to, 360.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like a lot of these workflows are kind of ultimately about just, centralizing your efforts into one particular place. And so that's definitely a larger conversation we could have. And then a follow-up question from Raptor over here as well. So this is about individual users and their connection dies for, upwards of a minute or 30 seconds. What will happen? Will you lose your current data? This is getting a bit granular in terms of like how Vault reaches out to the server and back down and stuff like that. But um, can you speak to that, Phil? Like, I guess, if someone's internet is dying, like, for upwards of a minute at a time, is there any concern over how like the data is getting transferred over the server, or like when exactly does Vault try to connect to the server and stuff?
Well, the only time when the user connects to Vault is when they make a call to Vault. It's not
Yeah.
like I mean, if the user is working on a drawing, there's no real communication between the client and Vault. It's the minute the user either wants to save that file up into Vault, check it back in, or check it out from Vault. It's when you're making most of the calls, unless you're using items and stuff like that. And then you'd be making small SQL changes. You wouldn't be pulling any large data.
Yeah. And that's a good point to be aware of for anyone using Vault and Inventor at the moment, right? Um, you're not constantly referencing to the Vault, so that's not going to be necessarily a performance hit or a connection issue, right? Um,
No, and one of the things is a lot of customers are using Inventor, but they haven't moved to Vault.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
in a couple of weeks, 2 months, I think I'm doing another one of these, and it's going to be why you need to go to Vault.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, this is a great kind of opportunity, right? Because we could help you with the data loading, especially if this is your first time in Vault, right? So this is a good opportunity to take our help essentially. Another question from Ray over here: how would a user access the Vault cloud directly from their computer or a drive mapped on the network? VPN directly to the cloud? Question mark. Or looking to see where the traffic would be routed through. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I guess let me read that one more time. So how would a user access the Vault cloud? Would they do it directly from their computer or from a mapped drive on the network? Does the VPN go directly to the cloud? Ray's just trying to understand the traffic that's going to be routed through the system here.
Well, so the VPN tunnel is put right into your network, and it's just when when Vault client makes the call and it goes into your router knows where to point the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no different than when you make the call to go to Vault on-prem. Now it's just routing to another location. It's not on a file server or anything like that.
Right.
It's all network.
Gotcha. Okay, I think that's all the Q&A we have here so far. Another question in chat. I'm not sure if you could speak to this, Phil, but what would happen if KETIV is to be acquired by another company? What would happen with the Vault as a service things there? Is that something you could speak to? I'm not sure if I have an answer for that.
I can't say what would happen, but I would assume that if we were acquired by another company, that the Vault as a service would continue.
Yeah, so definitely wouldn't be too concerned about that for sure. Okay.
Right.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think covered a lot of ground there, huh? Okay, looks pretty good. Yeah, we talked about some replication stuff, talked about the kind of general cloud structure over here. Definitely cost is going to be variable, like we said. There is kind of configurations and scalability for any type of customer. Great for first-time Vault users as well if you're into that. PLM integration is a possibility in the future. They'll probably be looking into that, of course.
Jason's already doing that right now. He's setting up a connection on one of our test VaaS right now.
Yeah. So again, especially if you guys have additional questions and additional discussions you guys want to have with us, please feel free to reach out to us, either to Phil directly or through our hotline over there, as with any of our presentations here. Cool. I guess let me know if there's any other questions here, guys. Feel free to put some in over here. Otherwise, Phil, do you have any closing words or closing, ideas over here for the audience?
No, I think this is a great opportunity for customers to leverage Vault if they don't have it today, without taking on all the responsibility. And for current Vault clients who have Vault, it's a way to take it off of your plate and have it be managed by somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'd like to emphasize as well. Yeah, ever since Phil came on, he's been talking about Vault as a service for I think since day one, probably. But he's worked very hard on it. You could tell in his voice that he cares very much and he believes in the service very much so. So again, please, thank you, Phil. I appreciate all the time, and thank you, the audience members, for being here today. If you guys have any more questions or want to talk any more, feel free to reach out to us at any of the contact info on screen over there. We'd love to set up a call if you guys are into that. Yeah, thanks again, everyone. Yeah, hopefully this is interesting to you guys, and hopefully we'll be talking more. All right. See you guys next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Hi, everybody.